Then, up to the next talk. We already had a very interesting talk about free and open source software and hardware at schools. And now this is a very related topic. This will be about the FOSS stack for the public sector, mainly in Germany, but also connected with initiatives in other countries, France and the Netherlands. And yeah, we've just seen that there are things going on in the world that make us think, maybe, is Microsoft still okay? What is going on with the cloud? Are my data safe and secure? And who reads them? So I think it's a very good thing to have open source initiatives like that. And Sven, who is the tech lead at ZenDiS, the Zentrum für Digitale Souveränität in Germany, will now tell us about that. So give it up for Sven.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming. All the slides will be available online afterwards, so don't have to, I don't know, take pictures or anything. So I'm here to talk about digital sovereignty, in particular in the public sector. Yeah, I'm Sven Neuhaus. I work at ZenDiS, and ZenDiS is a state-owned startup with the task to improve the digital sovereignty in the public sector, in particular. And yeah, well, let's maybe start about talking our dependency on the US tech sector and what we can do to improve the situation. So to start, let's look at some numbers. This 1.3 billion, a number with 10 digits, is the amount of money the German federal government spent on software licenses and services. And we don't own this software. The software doesn't really fit our requirements. And maybe we can spend it better elsewhere. Also, 96% of public sector desktops run Microsoft Office and Microsoft Windows, according to a PwC 2019 study. Why is this a problem? It's not just expensive, but it's also a wide-ranging dependency, again, on US companies and services. So can we rely on them? Maybe not, you know. So there's just 4 topics I picked here to explain why this is a problem. For example, the 2018 Cloud Act allows US law enforcement to compel US-based companies to access data stored anywhere globally, including the European Union. This is, of course, at the direct conflict with the GDPR. And I don't know, you may have heard about the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board, PCLOB, in the US. In January, the Trump administration dismissed all Democrat members of this oversight board. And without this board functioning properly, independently, the EU can no longer consider data transfer to the US to be acceptable, which it did in the Transatlantic Data Privacy Framework. But maybe that assumption was a bit questionable to begin with. And then we have the Digital Services Act, which the US government doesn't like. And they are threatening tariffs on EU states that want to tax, regulate, or impose fees on digital services in general. And they're also framing it as a censorship. And they have threatened to reconsider cooperation on transatlantic issues, including NATO. And finally, in May this year, you may have heard, there was a big public relations campaign from Microsoft saying, you know, if the US government tells us not to support European companies anymore, we will fight for you. You know, we will go to court and fight our own administration so we can continue to provide services. And just 2 or 3 weeks later, Microsoft, on the behalf of the US government, stopped providing the chief prosecutor of the ICC with his email account. He could no longer use his email. Clearly, we have reasons to be worried. And we are seeing a lot of sovereign washing, which is kind of like greenwashing. For example, in Germany, we have the Delos cloud. Maybe you have heard about it. It's like a Azure cloud or AWS in its own data center, and it's even run by companies that are not US companies, so there is no access via the Cloud Act. But of course, if the US companies stop providing updates, you know, it's really, they can easily shut it down, basically. So it's not sovereign at all. What do I mean by digital sovereignty? Basically, we want full control over our digital infrastructure, software, and data. So then we can make independent decisions. We can choose between different alternatives. In Germany, we have this nice Kofferwort Wechselfähigkeit, the ability to change to another solution, no lock-in via proprietary file formats, many service providers to choose from for running the software you want, and being able to switch to different products without huge pains. And then we want to have adaptability. You can adapt the software to your particular needs, to your requirements, adding features, changing things, and finally having influence over the development. You're not just another customer getting a generic solution. So this is what ZenDiS wants to achieve. And how do we do this? We use open source. Because open source ensures that anyone can use it in whatever way they see fit. We can study the source code, we can make modifications, and it can also be supported by many companies. And we can create modifications and share everything with each other. So ZenDiS, again, the Center for Digital Sovereignty, is a little startup founded in 2023. It started operating in 2024. I joined a year ago when there were like less than 20 people. Now we are around 30. And we use open source software to provide the public sector with software that is transparent, customizable, and controlled by the community rather than a single vendor. And we also aggregate the public sector's requirements, so then we can coordinate the development of tailored digital solutions. And we use proven open source projects. We don't write them from scratch. And we also offer a sovereignty check that analyzes dependencies of organizations. So let's have a closer look. I mentioned most of that already. In general, we don't do the development of the software in-house. Instead, we work directly with the vendors whenever possible. And we have 3 big products and services. First one, which I'll go into detail, is openDesk, which is already live since last year, which is a sovereign desktop in your browser. OpenConference is a video conferencing solution that we're working on. And OpenCode is a platform for collaboration in the software and public sector. So openDesk, we call this a sovereign desktop. It offers email, calendar, address book, Office suite, project management software, a wiki, video conferencing, cloud storage, and instant messaging. So pretty complete package of all the things you need. And This is what it looks like when you're in the dashboard, and it runs in your browser. It works on both desktop and mobile, and it's also accessible for people with disabilities. Yeah, and below the hood are 8 different products, and we work directly with the vendors to add new features and, for example, improve accessibility, which is a requirement for the public sector. And of course, we make sure that all the changes that we have implemented are upstreamed back to the main products, so everyone enjoys an improved product. We already have 70,000 active users. There's been a huge interest, not just from the public sector, but also from universities, hospitals, and also from the private sector. And there have been inquiries from 9 different European countries also. And the whole openDesk runs not just as a software as a service, which is our main offering for the public sector, but some organizations want to run it on premises, and we also help them with that. Basically, all you need is a Kubernetes cluster, and then you're good to go. Then we have openCode, which is our platform for open source project for the public sector. It's pretty big already, so it does all the things you want to have in a public software repository. We want to educate the public sector about open source licensing because they're often not familiar with it. We, of course, at its core, we have shared software development that's based on GitLab. And we have a software directory where you can find software. Why should a city have to, I don't know, have a software developed for calculating the dog tax or managing a cemetery? You know, this is stuff that everyone needs over and over again, and it makes a lot of sense to do this open source and then save a lot of work and tax money. And of course, documenting and sharing knowledge is a big factor. We also have forums where users can discuss and help each other, and we have regular virtual meetings and support hours for our projects as part of openCode. And it's also been, you may have heard about various vulnerabilities or attacks on the supply chain. And so securing the open software development lifecycle is a big topic, and we're working together with the BSI to make sure that the entire chain is as secure as possible. BSI is the German cybersecurity agency, the federal one. We also have a badge program to promote best practices for security, maintenance, and reuse. That way, when you're looking for a piece of software, you can be sure it follows best practices. Yeah, and it's pretty popular, pretty successful. We have right now about almost 8,000 users. This week, probably we will reach 8,000. And 1,300 public repositories. We also have some companies that target the public sector. They use openCode to host their software, and so the people looking for software can find it directly there. And we have also interest from other countries who would like to have something like openCode. Right now, France and Netherlands are mainly using GitHub for their open source projects, which is, of course, not so great, being owned by Microsoft. Yeah, and So we will help them get something better, I hope. And talking about international cooperation. So last year, ZenDiS started a cooperation with France. In France, there's DINUM, la Direction interministérielle du numérique, which is the equivalent of ZenDiS, basically. And they have also something like openDesk. It's called La Suite Numérique. And it's also open source. So we did a 100-day challenge with them to rapidly develop and test new open source features. We did a proof of concept for a sovereign AI feature for video conferencing. And we both worked on a note-taking app, which is now already part of both openDesk and La Suite. And we also established reciprocal single sign-on, so we can use La Suite and they can use openDesk, which is pretty cool. And so this year, we actually December last year, the Dutch joined this little initiative, and they are now working on their version of openDesk and La Suite. It's called Main Bureau, and the agency in charge is the Ministerie is the Ministerie van Binnenlandse Zaken in Koninkrijksrelaties. And yeah, we also have had some inquiries from more countries, so hopefully we can get something even bigger going. We're also present at the UN. There was a big event last year for open source on the UN level, and ZenDiS did the keynote, and they called us leading initiative open source in the whole world. I don't know about that, but I think we're doing pretty well. Yeah. One more thing. So we talked about an office suite and a code repository, and that's already a pretty good start. But of course, there's always more. And you may have heard about the end of 10 in the previous talk, or Windows 10 is going end of life in October, I think, which will mean that 240 million PCs will prematurely go to waste. And we don't like that. And also, we don't like that you have to have a Windows license in the first place. So we have a feasibility study now for Linux-based operating system for the public sector with immutable bootable containers. And I'm pretty optimistic about that. Okay, that's it so far. If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay, thank you, Sven. Yeah, questions, please line up at the microphone, and I see we already have the first questions.
Yeah, so how can we join? Unless we're with the government, is there any way to join?
Yeah, get in touch with me afterwards, and I'll get you in touch with the right people, sure.
Okay, and the second question is regarding GitLab. I like the product, I've worked with it a lot, although it's a little messy. So I think a dependency on GitLab is, I mean, I would doubt, is there a way out, or have you considered moving to other products later? Are you really hooked on it?
So right now it's working pretty well for us, but yes, there are some alternatives. And so actually we're putting a ton of work into open code right now in terms of all the security features for like SBOM and so on to ensure a safe tool chain. And I don't think GitLab is set in stone, so yeah. But it works for us so far, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for the talk. My question regards the how do you handle security incidents and publicly known vulnerabilities for the open source project?
Yeah, so we have all the openDesk itself is also hosted on open code. So we have the SBOM from all the vendors. We ask them to provide that for us. So when there is a vulnerability, we can, most of the time the vendors are already aware and will fix it by themselves. But if not, we can tell them, please make sure you have this, I don't know, critical vulnerability in a dependency of yours, and make sure it gets fixed by the next release. I don't know if there's one in the back.
From the internet? Or no, back microphone. Okay, please go ahead.
Was that to me? Is that me?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Then you go ahead.
Very confusing. So you mentioned your state-owned startup, right? Can you discuss a bit like why that model and how that's different to just being a state department, I guess, and whether you think it's a good fit?
Yeah. So I think it's worked really well so far. By being like less encumbered by bureaucracy, we can really move very rapidly. So we took over open code, the code base, and it was run by a different organization within the government, and it wasn't really getting anywhere. And we've really picked up the pace. There's still some bureaucracy whenever we interact with other organizations, of course, which is sometimes painful, to be honest. But yes, so there's also, we have a lot of people who believe in our mission, and I think it shows.
Thank you for your presentation. I came a little bit late, so maybe you've discussed this already. I was wondering about the numbers. So I assume that this is a pilot project. How much money are you saving by not going into the proprietary world? And how much of that money is being brought back to the funding of open source projects?
Yeah, so I mentioned in the beginning this number 1.3 billion euros, which is the amount the federal government spends on software licensing and services. And we have a budget of 30 million last year, I think. So just a fraction of that. I can't tell you how much you're saving directly, because also that depends on what Microsoft is doing with their prices. I heard they ask a lot more now because they want to sell you the AI stuff. And also, I think in the beginning, in the short term, you may not actually save money because you have to invest money to implement changes and so on. But I think it's fairly obvious that in the midterm, in the long term, it will save a lot of money just because of software reuse in particular.
Yeah, and it's not, my question was not so much about saving the money, which is nice because society benefits, we all benefit from it, but also making sure that the open source projects that are being developed in the open are seeing a bit of that fraction that you get, and making sure that these things work in the long term.
Yes, so we work directly with the vendors. So when they implement features for us, we pay them, of course, and yes, so they benefit for sure, yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I see a lot of similarities with another public sector, that's the schooling. So how hard do you think it will be to adapt or create additional modules so these projects also become usable in school environments?
Yeah, so we already have 8 different modules, and we also prefer it if we are able to exchange them. If it turns out one of the solutions is not best of breed, then it should not be like we want to have the choice. Basically, it's a question of how much work is it to add the interoperability between the different components. So it's not just, I don't know, an additional icon, but you really have features where built into the software where you have logical, nice interoperability things. And that really depends on what you have in mind. But yes, I mean, we have, for example, in Germany, we have the E-Akte-Bund, which is like the electronic file for all kinds of bureaucratic purposes. And we're also integrating that. And there's more than 1,000 Fachanwendungen, which is like special applications for all bureaucratic processes that are waiting to be integrated in some way.
That sounds quite similar to school. If you look at schools, there's thousands and thousands of small applications that do something useful for someone.
Yeah.
Quite often all proprietary and closed source and no open APIs and badly documented.
Yeah, we see that a lot.
Okay.
So yeah, there are similarities for sure, and let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk. Thank you.
I actually have a question to you too, because it's so similar. You mentioned that you are 30 people now for those thousands of waiting applications. Did you mention how many you are with your open source school?
We have one paid employee, and the other ones are volunteers.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
I'm not the paid employee. He's not here. He was unfortunately not available today. So.
Wow.
But as I said, we need some more funding. So if you're good at fundraising, please contact me.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hi, Sven.
Hi.
Thanks for the talk. I have a question. Could you elaborate a little bit more about reusing the old hardware? What kind of operating system you have in mind? Linux, of course, probably, but...
You mean the outlook I gave at the end?
Yeah. And the second question, do you have an idea about the initiative for the EU OS, which is supposed to be Linux and Fedora based, I heard?
Yes, we are in touch with EU OS also. To start with that question, there was a hackathon in June, I think, in France, where I participated also, and together with the EU OS project, in fact. And they're using Fedora because right now Fedora, it's unfortunately a US-based product, but on the other hand, they have the best bootable container implementation. Hopefully we get a nice European alternative that can also provide that. In terms of hardware requirements, nothing special really. I mean, we're talking about standard desktops, and there shouldn't be, I mentioned this 240 million of PCs going to waste. There's no good reason, right? I mean, probably Microsoft had a nice agreement with some hardware vendors. Let's sell more new shit. So, I don't know, so we get our stocks going up, So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, about the Fedora thing.
Yeah.
We have OpenSUSE, we have some French initiatives.
Absolutely. So SUSE also has, I think I don't know what it's called right now, Micro something, which is their variant of immutable Linux, which is also really interesting. So we have not decided upon any particular distribution. Obviously, we don't want to maintain our own distribution. That would be way too much work, I think. Yeah. And also not really necessary, but we just want to look at what are the requirements of the public sector, and right now we see immutable images being a very interesting technology. When something goes wrong, you can just reboot and you have a clean system again, which is nice for remotely administering thousands of PCs. And we're also looking at different client management solutions. open source, of course.
Yeah. So your focus is more on the containerization of your applications.
Yeah, I mean, the applications themselves, we probably look at Flatpak or something like that to containerize those also, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So short note in between, we're over time, but since we have a buffer until 12 o'clock, I just keep going until somebody stops us. Okay, so go ahead.
Hi. How many, we had like 1,300 projects on repositories on open code.
Yeah, those are the public ones, yes. There are also private repositories, yes.
What kind of projects are these? Like, where are they coming from? Are they mainly from the openDesk vendors? Do you also have people creating their repositories as individuals, or?
Well, we have a lot of cities, for example, like Munich has a very big open source development branch where they write a lot of software and they make it open source, and they also put it on open code. So we have a lot of stuff like that. As an individual right now, if you're not related to the public sector at all, you can sign up and, of course, download everything and so on. And you can contribute issues and so on, but you cannot right now make your own repository. So this is unfortunately a limitation, which makes it a bit harder to do a pull request, for example. Yeah. Okay.
This is a bit hard. So I'm a Fedora console member here, and I'm glad to be at this place. And just a small, tiny comment. While Red Hat is a US company, Fedora is international community, and we are really we have twice more European developers than US ones in the community. So we will be hoping to have some collaboration efforts here. But back to the topic, question is, do I understand correctly that you do not do development in-house, you rather contract the developers outside of the startup, or how much development do you do in your group?
Yeah, we do almost all development outsourced to the vendors themselves, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and about Fedora, I mean, I agree with you, but of course, for example, for bootc, which is the boot up containers component, that is mainly developed by a Red Hat employee, so it's a dependency.
Which reside in Czech Republic, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, there is definitely ways to find collaborative ways. We shouldn't run around and say this comes from US, so we cannot touch it. It's still open source, it's still open community, it's still collaborative. So we just need to figure out the better way, how to build some local expertise, how to build some understanding and ownership within the Europe, but not canceling everything else.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks again. And I think there are no more questions, also no more questions online. So thank you, Sven.
Thank you. Yeah, if you want to reach me, I'm usually at the speaker desk at Y, so feel free to come by.